And I think we're live. So, hi everyone, I welcome you all to weekly dev meeting of Meshery. So, today too, this is a weekly meeting that happens every Wednesday, and so today too we will be having all the agenda items on Meshery, like the issues and PRs that you all have been working on. We'll also be going through the point 9 roadmap. So, one of the CI maintainers, Sangram, will be going through that. I think that would be the one of the first agenda items as Sangram requested. But yeah, you all can go now and take a look at them, all of the items that we have, and can drop in your names in the attendees list, as many of you are already doing. And yeah, feel free to turn on your videos if your bandwidth is stable. So it's always nice to talk to faces than just audio. And let's also go ahead by following our tradition, and that is, if you're joining this call for the very first time, take the stage, unmute yourself, and give a quick intro. So, how did you come to know about the community, and whether or not you're working on an issue yet? And let me start by introducing Meshery. Meshery is one of the projects that Layer 5 community stewards and is also 9th fastest growing CNCF project. It's a Cloud Native manager, and you can read more about it in the docs that I'll be, linking in the chat. So there goes the introduction of project. Now I think I'll be taking a look at the participant list to see the newcomers. And I don't think we have any newcomer on the call. All are old timers. But yeah, if we do, please unmute yourself and give a quick intro. We'll be waiting for a second.
Hey, Vivek, you're a little hard to hear. Your internet is kind of coming in and out. Your voice is a little low. Your speech is really quick too. So some of your words end up slurring together. At least for some of us, that makes it difficult. Is there anyone on the call that hasn't introduced themselves before? It's always nice to meet people and welcome you to the community. Ria Garg, have you said hi before? Yeah, you did in the last call? Okay, yes. Very good. Yes. Hi again. Good. How about Radha? Radha Tharki.
Yeah. Hi, Lee. Hi, everyone. Actually, for Mishri, this is my first call to attend. Before that, I have attended layer 5 call and newcomers meeting also. Yeah. So, as per experience, I am a full stack developer, by the way, and also I have contributing 3 years of in open source. First, I contributed in Google Summer of Code, and then also I have contributed in outreaching, but not as a member, just for the project. And now I'm looking forward in Mishri to contribute. Mostly, I have worked in React.js, Gatsby. Also, I have worked in Docker containers and AWS part.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, welcome to your third stint to Meshery. I guess Meshery is our biggest project, but there's a few others. But good, nice, great intro. Other folks that want to say hi who haven't said hi on this call before. Nawambi, how about you for How about you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nwadi, or Nwadi, sir, if you are brave enough to pronounce the whole thing. I don't think it's that bad, though. I have a background as a solutions architect, AWS mostly. And last week was my first time at the newcomers meeting, and I decided to pop in here and be a fly on the wall. So hello, everyone.
So actually, yeah, I put an extra M in your name, I think. So it's just, it's not Nawambi, it's Nawabi.
It's just Nawabi, yeah.
Nawabi, yeah. Thank you for that. Good. Yeah, I got some practice.
It's okay.
Oh, nice. All right, solutions architecture, wonderful. There's actually one of the last interns here. Awani Alero, she was into solutions architecture. She has only not been here for the last couple of weeks, but she had made a lot of strides in the project with respect to solutions architecture, which you can imagine is kind of a thing if you're doing designs of how infrastructure work. So that's, you know, it's not entirely the definition of solution architecture, but it's fairly close. So good. I'm glad that you're here. It's great. All right. Anybody else that hasn't said hi before? I think everyone else has. Huh? All right. Nice. Good. If we missed you, just say hi in chat, and we'll be sure to harass you there. We don't have any problem being sarcastic with people or poking fun at them. So with that, we've got a couple of announcements today. It turns out that, so my name's Lee, and it turns out that I've got your first couple of announcements. So one of them is that in the CNCF, there is it's a CNCF staff hosted podcast, and they call it Chat Loop Back Off. The theme of the podcast is to talk about a project and more or less go through a project with someone who is brand new to the project, who hasn't familiarized with it before. And so last week it was, Meshery was at BAT, and the gentleman that walked through Meshery, there's a recording of him having walked through it this last, is it Thursday? And so he had a good time with Meshery. We ended up following up in a discussion with him yesterday. His name's Ahmed. And the follow-up discussion, we just took notes about some of his thoughts and reflections as a first-time user of Meshery. So there's meeting minutes in that follow-up discussion, as well as I think the recording is posted there. So he had just thoughts to share and some very nice things to say about the project and some things that he might like to see the project do. So that's a timely consideration in that there's roadmap planning for the next Meshery release happening now. The second announcement is that Meshery is up for, it has been proposed for incubation level status within the CNCF. And so it has been proposed for that status for almost a year. And that's how long it takes for projects to get through the proposal process. It is very nearly time. It is like right at the top of the queue for the CNCF Technical Oversight Committee to spend time reviewing the project and performing diligence to discern whether or not the project is really ready for that next level. Part of that readiness is the TOC members having discussions with individuals or organizations that have adopted Meshery. So there are any number of publicly listed adopters of Meshery. So we need to hunt down individuals that are willing to go through an interview and talk about how what they've been doing with Meshery. It's critical that we identify a handful of those. All right. Any comments or questions on those announcements? All right. Well, fair enough. We're attempting to have something of a standing agenda for each of these meetings, a standing agenda to help ensure that we're coordinating across the components that comprise Meshery. Meshery is a decent sized project. It's fairly large. It has a number of different components. One of those is the CLI. And so, Matthew, are you the CLI representative today? Do you have we gotten into a groove of kind of using the spreadsheet to report on, like, you know?
Okay, I'm here. I don't really know what to um, yeah, present
Okay.
here.
Yeah. Let's see if let me share my screen. See if we could take a stab at what that type of a update might look like. I think ideally it's a fairly brief update. It's probably one that's twofold. It's one summarizing the ongoing feature work, the ongoing new functionality being incorporated in. I think the spreadsheet is probably out of date in terms of what's experimental and what's been absorbed, what's been graduated from experimental. So like part of the report that you could offer is like a status of the currently ongoing new functionality that's being developed. Just is super quick, like there's a command or there's a sub command or something, or maybe there's an effort to make all error messages consistent or something like, but just a quick status like that. The second part of what you could offer as an update is the test, end-to-end tests. And either how many of those are, I think at the moment it's probably like how many of those have been written. And so this test plan, has some, the component under test, there are any number of them written for Meshery CTL. There are hopefully any number of them written for other components as well. But at least from the perspective of Meshery CTL, it would be easy enough to just say how many of these are written, how many of these are tests are covered by tests. And then we can start to, then once we've said that on one call, the next call that we have, we'll be able to measure to see if we're moving forward or staying the same. Does that seem about right?
Yep. I did not prepare anything for today, but I will have this in mind for next week.
Sounds perfect. Perfect. Thank you, sir. That sounds great. In the same way, we would do so for like the other Meshery client, the UI. There's an ongoing initiative to upheave overhaul the UI, at least in terms of, its upgrade from Material UI version 4 to Material UI version 5. Ankita was leading, well, Antoinette was leading, the person leading this charge has been swapped out any number of times. And I think the last person standing is Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, do you want to give an update on this?
Yes, I'll share. Okay, so all the sections are like PRs are up basically. And you might be seeing few sections less, but it's been added here. Like design configurator, which was using before, and RGSF components. So this were not added here. So added, and now they are also PRs has been raised for them. So the progress is like all the sections are been up. Just I'm getting few feedbacks, so I'll incorporate that. Actually, that is left. And yeah, like I've not created any more PRs right now as they will be merged. Some cleanups has to be done, like few single files, like some internal files, just like footprints, which will be available to cleared up and moving to system. Yeah, rather than main sections are converted, all like main pages you will see. For example, if I go to one of our like, just, yeah, like for example, this is the important one, which is the RGSF components. Like each schemas uses some like text fields, like file, select empty fields. Those are using before. Now they are using system with style components. And a more change I was want to show you is that just
Yeah, Sudhanshu, we don't necessarily need to go through these specific ones unless there's something to discuss, which we just need
yeah,
the commitment
just like
that we were going to be done with this. I think by this time, well, it was like last week we were going to be done, and then this week we were going to be done. So my question is like,
yeah, this week will be done. I need just a day or two to wrap up things like clear like incorporate feedbacks. just that the sections PRs are all up. At that time was saying, yeah, this will be done. I just need day or two so to wrap things up, clear things up, removing dead code, dead styles which are not required. Just those things.
Yeah, say it again. You just need what?
Day or two just to wrap things up, like footprints, like whichever like single files are left. But yeah, all main sections are up. I just discussed like one, two things I just want to discuss. So this is our catalog cards. Now this will be used as primary and secondary actions. So this is the outline and this is the primary action, which is different currently in existing design. So I just want to show any
Yeah, but we're
feedbacks.
not really looking to change design at the moment. It's just V4 to V5, and that's getting delayed, delayed. So if I were you, I wouldn't change anything. I would stick to the goal.
Yeah, it's part of the goal only, like because that is using different colors, like old components and old colors that you were seeing the existing, like that is not required because we use everywhere in our provider, cloud provider, in Canvas, this kind of buttons. So that is being used to be consistent in Meshery UI client also. Just that. So this is the update and PRs are up. Like I'll wait like few others have any feedbacks in of the open PRs. So yeah, I'll incorporate those.
Thanks a lot, Sudhanshu. So, yeah, link to all of these issues that are just discussed are in chat, so you can go and take a look. Next up, I'll take a look if we still have Sangram. Yep, we do. So, Sangram, do you mind covering your item next?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate letting me go first. Let me share my screen. Okay, while I share my screen, so we recently released Meshery 4.8, and what we are looking at next is, or what we have next is a roadmap for version 0.9, and we have a list of must do features or capabilities, you can say, and some that we are kind of putting it as a stretch goal. I'd sent an email a while back asking all of you to take a look and see if you can pick up some of these items, especially the ones that don't have owners. I want to take a moment on this call to kind of re-emphasize the importance of getting a lot of these capabilities out in the next release. This will also help put, or the improvements will help put us in a better position when we are up there at the incubator level with the CNCF. Okay. So it's important that as more and more people start exploring and using Meshery, we have some of these, issues and features sorted and implemented. So this is the roadmap in the Layer 5 Discuss portal, and this is the GitHub link on the chat for the issues that are currently open that are part of the milestone, and how far we are in getting them addressed. So depending on your capabilities and your skill sets, especially those of you who are new and have joined here for the first time, I would request you to take a look and pick out a few of these and kind of let us know in the Slack. You may not necessarily have to do it on the call, but look at this, see if there are some issues here that can be something that you can pick up. Let us know in the Slack, and we will have it assigned to you, and obviously the community will help you, address some of these. If you have any immediate questions, if you've already looked into this, now is the time to bring it up. I may not have answers to all of them, but we do have the entire developer team here, including Lee, to kind of try and answer any questions you might have. So I'll give it some time to see if you have any questions.
You guys mind if I address one right now? I'm not sure how high on the priority telemetry is for us, but there's a specific topic for custom telemetry provider. I'm new to this community, so I've been looking for a meshmate for this. So I did request there. I've gone through the whole, like I zipped through the code base as much as I could, and I tried to see where we are, but looks like telemetry has not been one of our top priorities like for the last like maybe one or two releases, because I wasn't able to kind of get something newer on this. I think last we talked we had a architecture diagram, the one that is linked here in the spec, but that was not very like intuitive. I wasn't able to get through with this. And just to give you a background, I'm like committed to Prometheus Alert Manager, Prometheus Operator. So I think I have the like I kind of can take up this telemetry side of things, but I just need to know what's the direction and what's the level of priority of this.
Well, we definitely it's a priority for us. In fact, for the last few months, we've been kind of trying to get some of the we have something called as a connection that Meshery makes to a Prometheus endpoint. We and the team has been working on getting that fixed and getting that working. Now, in the interest of time, because we have an hour on this call, what I can do is we can catch up sometime tomorrow, depending on what is a convenient time for you, and I can show you where we are in terms of telemetry, right? And we can try and take it from there, and you can help with whatever areas
Sure,
you think we can help.
Yeah, I'll drop you a message on Slack and we can schedule something tomorrow. I have a release tonight, so probably I'll have a day tomorrow to kind of do my due as well. I'll try my best to catch up on whatever I can through message docs and code base, and then maybe I'll give you a few questions that if you could address via call, via message, both will work for me. Basically, I'm looking for somebody to connect with so that I can get
Sure.
started on this ASAP. Okay.
And just to
Thanks,
quickly show you, this is what we have at the moment. And, we had some issues getting these connections working, and Sudhanshu has been working on getting some of these things fixed. We still have a lot of work, and it's great that, we can have someone come and pitch in and get these things working. I guess this is step one before we can move on to getting a lot of telemetry data in and adding in more capabilities and features. So yeah, I mean, thanks for bringing that out. We'll definitely, we'll work out on, getting that.
Okay.
It's just a 1 hour call, so I want to, make sure that the rest of the agenda items get right. So just to, I guess there's no one else with any other questions, but again, in the interest of time, I would request again everyone to take a look, Kapil, right? Kapil did just now in terms of finding something that is his area of interest. See if you can help with something, and then we can try and get some of these items moved. Okay, thanks. Over to you, Sean.
Thanks a lot, Sangram, and Kapil as well. And yep, you will find the link to the roadmap in the chat, so go and take a look. Looks like next up we have Ria with her updates on Meshery CTL. So Ria, are you all set?
Yes, I'm all set. I'll just share my screen. So I've been working on this improve Meshery generate. So it's a very small fix that we need to check if the arguments are correct or not. So this is the issue, that we need to display a proper prompt to user that they are not using the command correctly. So for that, I have implemented it and I'll be able to raise a PR in like 1 or 2 hours. This is the result of what I'm trying to do. So if they put this command registry generate and they do not put any arguments, this is what would be shown. So I think Matthew is on the call. He wanted that this is kind of a message should be shown. And apart from that, I'm also checking for if they are passing wrong arguments. Like, for example, if they pass this argument and they did not pass the registrant credentials, then it would be shown that credentials are required. So I'm covering all these. And the same would be done for publish command as well. This is for generate command. I'll do the same for publish command as well. So this is my update on this particular issue. I'm looking for any feedback if it's there.
Once you will have done the changes, just call me on the GitHub pull request,
All
and
right.
I will review. But yes, it's a good way you are going on.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the second one is this one. Okay. Just a second. Yeah. So in this unit test for I think I've implemented it whole, and you had a comment that we have to do some work on it. So I just wanted to ask if there is something that I can hop into. I'll be happy to take that.
For this one, I will recheck, but the last review I did, I think that we are good for this one, and we will see for the next step.
All right. Thank you. That's my update.
Thanks a lot, Ria. So next up will be this update from Anuj. So Anuj, do you mind going next?
Yes, yes, I'm sure. Okay, so the issue that I was working on to increase E2E test on the home page. So when I was increasing the test, I found that there wasn't any specific data test ID which I can use to verify the test. So for example, like in a button, there is no data test ID. Like if I have to verify that this button is present in the page or not, I will have to verify its text like sign up, which isn't a good method for verification of test. So that's why I've created a PR to add data test IDs in components. Right now, only I have added in 2 pages for extensions and preferences. Um, yep, that's that's all from my side. Any review?
No, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, okay, you added the test IDs for this. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you, Anuj. Any other comments? All right, so Lawrence is not with us on the call, and Sangram just covered the item, and so did Kapil. So it's over to Matthew, and I acknowledge that this item would be could be a work in progress that you may not have update, but just let me know, Matthew. If that's the case, we can move on to the next item.
Yeah, for this one, nothing really important to say here. Perhaps just that I see that the current Meshery CL end-to-end test workflow is failing since at least 7 months. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the issue to fix it.
Okay, so like you do not have any update that you want to share right now, right?
Yeah, nothing here.
All right. And we are also missing Sanu. Sudhanshu, do you mind reminding Shanu if he joins, then we'll be able to cover this item. Next up, we'll be having these updates from Amit. And
Yeah,
Amit,
it's my screen. So my first update was regarding the previously we had this CRD's icon for, so we don't have the model icon like this custom resources like the alert manager. Also, I make some of the API changes and create one model uh, in the Kubernetes resources table, and from that I'm able to get this model name, and based on the model name we are successfully able to show the like the which model belongs to like this Cilium endpoint. These three different kinds. So these also are based on the group by the kinds and the model. So each one was differentiated within the kind and model as well. Also, we can group by this.
So Amit, are you showing the model icon or the component icon?
The model icon, not the component icon. Yeah, it is the component icon, but using the name of this model icon. Like, yeah, it is a component icon, not the model. So this was the PR of it.
Yeah, do you mind
Did you
hovering
do
over-
any change to the mesh sync?
Yeah, I add one the params of the model name onto the meshing because it required to create one column
Yeah.
on the Kubernetes resource
Yeah.
table. I have to make the changes. And the one issue was the mesh sync with it is not currently compatible with this latest version of the Meshery. So I have to go back to the previous version of the mesh sync. Currently also in the Meshery we are using the different version of this older version of the mesh sync.
So how would the PR work right now if you are still on the older version?
Yeah, so we have to first fix this issue. I go back to the for the local test. I go back to the previous version of the meshing and test it through it. But first, we need to fix this issue.
And like, are you tracking it like? Because otherwise we won't be able to have the other PR merge.
Yeah, we are not tracking.
Yeah, if Salvik or Shanu, or here's Salvik, this might be something you could assist with. Looks like there's some newer Kubernetes packages used.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my update regarding this dashboard thing. And the other thing was the discussion about the UX flow of this how this operator detail deep linking works. So currently I added like previous current in the current deployed version of the canvas, we have the feature that if we click on any deep linking, it switch the view and it filter the views, but I replace it with like it change the detail of the details panel, not changing the views. So any feedback regarding this?
I mean, I missed that just now. Can you say it one more time? When someone the user has selected a component, they're seeing details about the component in the right-hand side panel, which if you could click on and make much larger, it would be helpful for everyone. If you could like right-click on the image and open it in a new window or something like that. There you go. So you've got the Keppel green component, the pod highlighted. You're seeing details about that on the right-hand side. As someone wants to navigate to a related component like the namespace and get details about the namespace, they'll click on a hyperlink and and they'll be shown details of the node or the namespace, like a related component.
Yes.
Is there a mechanism by which, how do they get back to the one that they were just looking at?
Yeah, so the thing that we have to implement, the back thing was not implemented. Currently, if we want to go to the back end, we have to again select this the node that we previously selected. So there is no some sort of routing to the going back forward and in the digital panel.
And does the focus update to the node, the component that has been selected, that has changed to? No, it doesn't. Right? According to this recording, no, it doesn't. So it's discombobulating to users to understand where they are and what they're looking at, because we're lying to them when they switch and they click on the deep link, and we say what's in focus is the pod, and no, it's not. We're showing them details of the namespace or something else.
Yes.
It's just that people lose their way. There is probably multiple correct answers or multiple ways in which they won't necessarily lose their way. Have you watched the scope recording that have you watched the scope recording?
Yeah. It will pop up the whole the canvas also with this component what we selected here.
Okay, so what's the proposal to go forward?
Yeah, so we can do like this. If we select this let's suppose a node, then also it filter out on the current view, and it saw this node, and also it changed the content of the detailed panel.
I didn't understand what you said. What?
Yeah, let me repeat again. So in the current behavior in the playground, what we do, if we select any node from this panel, we are filter out on this view of this the canvas. So we can do like change the both thing, like changing the view as well and changing the content of this panel. So using that.
No, that's super confusing. That's the thing. That's the problem with scope. It's super confusing in scope. They got it wrong. Okay, do other people have thoughts on this user interaction? Anybody else have a perspective about?
Actually, I have few small ideas. One's like, as you click on any like deep link and you get the resource and the component ID, what you can do is like, as you click on it, you would shift the focus to that component, like just like highlight it, because you would get the component ID, so you can do that. And it probably won't be like, if it's like the user is not in that, like not in the view, but just like the canvas is not panned to that item, so you might shift the zoom and like that stuff to go to that. And also I think the routing should be simple. You can just like kind of stack it, or as you open new links you could just stack them, and as you go back you'll pop from that stack quickly. So I think that should be simple. You don't need to like implement much there, like other than the stack. And there would be only one issue is like kind of like if the user is not like namespaces are not selected in the current view and the user clicks on the namespace, the component won't be in the view. So that would be the only edge case. But I think that's still kind of like, because the user has not opted for namespace, so it makes sense like we don't show it at that time. Because the only issue is because if we shift the views, then it gets confusing to go back to the previous view, and but while they start, it gets lost to starting point if we shift the views.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you select the namespace default TL, then it highlights the default namespace. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Any other feedback?
Thank you, Amit. So next up would be update from me. I'll be going ahead by sharing this PR's link in chat. And this is basically making changes to registry publish command in Meshery that sends models data to Meshery.io. And so we have a weekly workflow that sends models to different systems that we have. And we have two of the systems which are based on Markdown, the Meshery documentation, and another is the site Meshery.io. And so this is basically making sure that we also have these data available in Meshery.io. And right now, the data that is sent for each model looks something like this. So these front matter and the additional front matter that I added was these relationships. Like this model doesn't have any relationship, but yeah, relationships and relationship count and components count. If we take, for example, Kubernetes model, it has around 76 components and 62 relationships. So those are now available in Meshery.io, and all the component icon are generated. For Meshery docs, we already had all these front matter values. I just added this one extra relationships and that their count. So, and this is in a way that even if we merge this and the next time the workflow will run, it will send the data to Meshery.io. But since we had some performance issues in the UI in the Meshery.io site, but it will not be affected because the ability to show all these models and generating the filters out of these markdowns is switched off there. So even if this PR is merged, which is I think has been tagged as LGTMQ, its solutions have be incorporating them. So I basically mean to say that even if it's merged, we are all good on Meshery.io. And there's one concern in Meshery that I talked in websites meeting, so I'll be following up on that on sites call. But for this call, this will be it. I have already shared the PRs link, and yeah, if you have any feedback, do let me know. And thank you, Matthew. Next up, we'll be having some updates from Savik, and I'll see if we have Savik on the call. Yep, we do.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Yeah. So I've been working on enabling support for multi-pod Kubernetes manifest so that it can be imported in the canvas. So I can give a quick demo. I'll just try to list down all the pods that are running locally. So if I try to export, let's say from a specific namespace, yeah, so I'll pick the default namespace and I'll export it. And so this is what our exported manifest looks like. And current behavior is if I try to import this in the canvas, we'll just do it quickly. Yeah. So if I do it, due to the so it's not able to identify and it breaks due to the kind list. So I made changes for it to support. So if someone tries to import the exported kubectl exported file for multiple pods, they can now it will work. And it was mostly about adding support for YAML with kind list. And yeah, so that's how it should be. And I've created a PR. So right now, for a fairly huge file, like the one we tested that day, it took a quite bit of time. I checked it. It's like a pretty huge file. It has like 91 Kubernetes resources. So based on the reviews, some optimization needs to be done in the code. I haven't gone through the whole code, I haven't figured out the optimization yet, but one of the thing that might be causing an issue is this recursive typecasting of the YAML output, which is being converted from map of string interface to map of string of interface. So this might be an issue. And since the kind list is so it totally depends on the nesting, how nested the YAML is. So this can be an issue. Another is after we have all the resources, we pass it to we convert into a pattern declaration from the K8 manifest. So here we are making a registry call, which is a database call. So I believe this can be another bottleneck. Yeah. So this is this. So any feedback on this?
Actually, yeah, makes sense. I think there are some already existing performance issues with the code, like not the ones that you might have introduced with like resolving the list size. Yeah, I think for the registry one, if you could just like get all of the kinds and you need to get and just make a single batch call to the database, so we could get everything in a single call, and I think that should help there. For the casting, I don't know like why we are casting same, like I think it's getting the same map string interface to map string is something weird. Yeah, I don't
So
know.
YAML conversion always produces this map of interface and interface. So to be consistent, we are, I believe, converting here. Yeah, over here we are converting to map of string to string of interface. So and even like over here, this takes in the manifest in this format. So that might be the reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think yeah, might be able to do something there, like to prevent like
Yeah. So
because it's kind
something.
of needless to
Yeah.
do the casting there. Yeah, another thing is I think you might have already incorporated that one. Like previously, I think we were like doing two iterations to first like getting the list ones, then again trying to like expand them. So I think that one can be done in just a single iteration when we are
Yeah.
taking the
Yeah.
components and just seeing if it's list, then expand it.
Yeah.
I think you already
So
did
right
that
now,
probably.
yeah. So I haven't analyzed if we really need this at the
Yeah.
moment, but another thing is that so I haven't made change, but another thing is that as we encounter a kind like a manifest of kind list,
Yeah.
so before that we are like typecasting. So there are a lot of unnecessary things that might be getting typecasted. So maybe here we can avoid that and do specific for the kind list. That can be an optimization. But I think a better question to
Yeah.
ask is if we really need to
I think right now
type.
mostly the bottleneck is the database query and IO. It would like make 90 database calls is the bottleneck right here. So I think if you
Yeah,
fix that, it
this one.
should reduce the most of the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here is it. It is
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, probably like if you make on the registry manager, you would make like another handler for like doing the batch call. Because I think last time we also saw it, the same issue was with, I think yeah, when we hydrate from the evaluation response, we still do the same thing, like get each of these components
Yeah.
by individually
Yeah.
making each call. So yeah, that would be helpful. I think in a couple of different places. Yeah, if you do
So,
that, that would help in multiple areas.
got it. Got it. Yeah. So I'll take a note of that. Yeah. So this was it. And next I was working on a Meshkit error code enhancement, which was error code enhancement, which this one. which occurs during deployment when the manifest could not be applied. So this is the enhanced, this is the one that I encountered while trying to recreate it locally. And this is the enhanced error. I can show you the, how it used to look earlier. So this is how it used to look earlier. In details, there used to be only required value. But after enhancing, this is how it looks. So if you guys can give it a read and like how understandable it is, how actionable it is, it would be a good feedback.
Yeah, I think kind of one of the weird things is in the details, like the second paragraph, like field value required is kind of weird.
Right.
Like it should be kind of like the field name
It's
and
a redundant. Yeah, it's
if you
like mhm.
if you see like in the validation issue, it's kind of the same thing that there we also list the field validation issue. I think if you return it in the same way, we could just use that kind of in the same, like if you format it in the same way.
Can you come again? I did not understand that.
Yeah, like in the validation step of like deployment, we list the same issues, like which fields have any validation issues, like which are required, which are wrong. So if you would format
Yeah,
this in
so
the same
over
way,
here, I believe if I go ahead, try to deploy it, I already get over here, which are just warnings,
yeah.
I believe, but it says error over here. So, but lets me pass, I'll think it's a warning. And in the dry run also, it doesn't really show any error, although I'm not aware what dry run exactly does. And yeah, if I go ahead and deploy, so
Not like this makes, what I'm saying is just like the message for like kind of which you have right now at the end is like field
okay,
value required value, instead of this like just have the message similar to what we had in the validation mode, like field container dot spec or whatever is required, or it should be an array, should whatever the message is, like just formatted in that way, because in
all
this way
right,
it's
got
too confusing.
got it. So for this, I tried to handle all the things that were listed in the issues. Yeah. So we get a status error, which inside which there are status details. So for that, I created a case for specific types, and those values gets displayed. And for the one that we haven't encountered, I'm simply passing a error type over here, so that even if it's not handled, they can make sense out of it.
It's
What the
like the
error type?
same function used also when cleaning up the dry run, because it's kind of the same thing. I think the thing is not getting noticed during like the dry run, but I think we could use the same like functions that are parsing the response
I
from dry
think
run, but it's kind of the same thing.
I think for dry run it was this. It's a
No, at
generic.
some point we should be like parsing the error return from Kubernetes and like formatting it in the way we can represent it.
So
I think you can probably use some part of that directly.
are you mentioning like a centralized somewhere we are?
Hey, like, sorry to interrupt, Stavik. So if this is something, you two can discuss in Slack, that would be helpful.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
like
that
just quickly
the
wrapping it up, like
Mhm.
do one thing, just check like while we are parsing the response for dry run and formatting it properly, you might be able to hook into that directly. Just like, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. All right. So that's the update from my end.
Thank you, Stavik. And Abid, I think you are up next. So
Yeah, let me quickly share. So yeah, I had some quick update about some of the relationship policies that we were enhancing. So I think, yeah, from since last two releases, we talked about the one of the new relationships that is the alias relationship. So quickly saying that aliases are basically components that act as like pointers or refs to a field in or configuration in some other component. So like we have the deployment, which is the actual component here, and we are creating these pseudo or like annotations for some of the fields inside it, like the containers or the pod spec that's inside the deployment. So we're creating these things. It's for the purpose of visualization and ease of access to the field. So basically, previously, what we were supporting, we were just supporting one level of aliases. So basically, an alias couldn't have some any more aliased fields. So that was the limitation previously. So with this updated policies and a bit of processing, we can now resolve the aliases and have them recursive and nested alias. So right now you can see I have a deployment, and inside that deployment there is an alias of type of kind, actually, like the component is pod spec, and inside that pod spec we have some containers. So I have created two containers, and inside the containers I'm now also visualizing the ports inside that container, and these get resolved. So if I edit the port from here, it would actually, yeah, it would directly update the port inside the actual component, which is the deployment. So these aliases are just stateless pointers, so just point to the field inside the actual component. So now we are resolving them and recursively finding which is the actual root. So this helps now visualize the things properly.
I say, Wabi, does that look like a port to you? The thing that's highlighted in the white bold outline? Isn't Wabi here?
Like, just one thing to confirm, like this is not the port component that I just put I think it was endpoint component just for testing. I used that because there's no port component annotation right now. This is the Kubernetes endpoint actually, or IP address. Yeah, Kubernetes IP address.
Got you. Wabi, does this make sense what I'm asking you? Actually, this is a great way of breaking the ice with you, as well as maybe leaning into part of your area of your field of focus. Do you know what you're looking at in the design? I'm gonna keep saying your name until you come off mute, Nawabi. Nawabi, are you there? No, you're not. You're gonna make me sing to everybody, or attempt to sing. Nawabi, I will keep embarrassing myself until you say hi. You can't hear me, can you? All right, well, we'll just send her this recording and she can laugh at me later. But the point of what I was trying to highlight is slightly on the side of what Abid is showing. Abid is showing this enhanced capability for Meshery to relate components to one another. And then on the side of that, I was using it as an opportunity to reflect on what's being conveyed and whether or not this parental hierarchy of 4 different enveloped, components conveys to people intuitively what the infrastructure is doing. And so it's a little bit on the side, but just to repeat what you've done here is you were saying, Abid, you were saying, hey, in a generic way, with the effort that you're putting in right here, Meshery has begun to have the ability to, well, it has already had the ability to have n number of layers of hierarchy in terms of how many parents and how many grandchildren a given component can have. So that's great. We typically don't see designs that go very many, that don't have great grandchildren. They usually are only going a couple of levels deep. You're facilitating further use of multiple levels by way of automatically having Meshery review the nature of each component or the properties of each component. And when it sees a portion of that component that is like reusable or that is represented elsewhere. So in the case of something like a service endpoint or an endpoint in Kubernetes, part of what the portion of the property of an endpoint in Kubernetes is an IP address. And as it turns out, an IP address is also its own standalone resource. And so what you're doing is, rather than just showing users a single component that says endpoint, you're giving them two faucets of control. You're giving them the endpoint they can click on and manipulate. And you're also making like a first-class resource, an IP address, also show up, even though they in the manifest for Kubernetes, it might only define one resource, but you're enhancing the experience by giving them what appears to be two resources, when under the covers it's just one. And this greatly enhances the user experience and gives people, a much better comprehension of what's going on. It really does, because if you consider that, like for a deployment, if they just had one component on the page, but it represents like 15 containers and like a bunch of other things, there's a massive difference in terms of the experience that people will have and their comprehension of what's really going on under here when all of those things are highlighted. So, yeah. Now, with the work that you've done, this alias, this multiple layers of supportive hierarchy, are there any limitations to the depth or to an alias of an alias? Or like, have you run into a situation where
like theoretically, I think there shouldn't be like an issue, because I think I stopped at like 3 with testing, but I might see like a 4 or so, because it should work, because it just like recursively resolves it right now. So yeah, it should, like theoretically there shouldn't be any limit of how much deep you want to go.
It's a good one to test. It'd be nice to see that there's, just off the top of my head, if there's a deployment, the deployment has 2 pods, and each of the pods have 2 containers, and each of the containers have 2 init, 2 IP addresses. Like, that's a fairly common example where we might find a somewhat steep stack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, one thing I think, I don't know, like if deployment can have multiple pods.
Yeah,
but it's just like we set the replicas here, and we won't show the replicas separately right now.
You might want to show the replicas later, but even at that, it's still a good example to like show the other layers.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, also like another thing we might do is like add an addition, like here we have annotations, configurable components. We might have like additional control of like turning on and off the alias, because sometimes user doesn't want to look into too much information, and if they want, they can toggle it off and on. Or yeah, that would help, I think. So regarding this, there was like some related change in like in the Meshery schemas. So I added the schemas for these aliases, because like when we resolve it, we create an object. So I added it inside the schemas. And also another thing was like I fixed the workflow for actually publishing the npm package was broken, so I fixed it now. So we now publish the npm package. So we are on, I think, version 0.7 now. So it was actually, I think, broke from pretty much like 5-6 months. I think I just noticed. So it's now fixed, and we released 6.1. So yeah. Yeah, that's it. Another thing I might do in probably in next release is like, right now there's some of the information about aliases that was hard coded in UI about resolving it and finding it. Now that we do it directly from the evaluation, we would use that response. So I think, and that would help probably a bit in performance. So yeah, I will look into that also.
Thank you, Abid. So we are like 7 minutes over the time. And so I will once again, I will once thank you all for joining the call and participating in it. This meeting minutes will be available on community forum and also the recording of this YouTube session. So you can revisit or can share with someone who would want to catch up with the meeting. And also before we end the call, if you have not yet, do join the newcomers meeting, which is again a weekly meeting. It would be happening tomorrow on Thursday. And so I'll be sure to drop the meeting calendars link in chat. So yeah, thanks and see you all next Wednesday. Till then.